whare mai, toki kai, tēnā rui, oti ko ari o ka kore o Kāwhia, greetings to you all, and welcome to today's Kāwhia Community Board meeting. I declare the meeting open. Now, in the absence of Tinga, I will say a brief tarakia. Not an unusual one for you guys. May our meeting start in order, proceed in peace, and flourish in harmony. Okay. Your apologies. We have an apology from Board Member Fury. I'll suppose that will be accepted.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Member Upper. And straight into our public forum. Next up is Annie Mahara. And Eddie is going to speak on a request for funding of the Kāwhia Community Board for $240 inclusive, and this is to support a proposal that you've got for a project Kai for all. Kāwhia. Pretty excited about where this is going to go. Annie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, the Tepu. Thank you for this time that I have. So in Te Awamutu, they have a group, an organisation. It's a profit organisation by the community. It's funded by the community in town. And they've been running for 4 years now, since 2020, since COVID. And their organisation is called Kai for All. So every Thursdays, abundance of kai from the supermarkets, it's Fresh Choice and Woolworths. And now they've opened a shop and, well, a bakery in Cambridge has offered their goods as well to Te Awamutu and Kainga Aroha as well. So they have asked me if I could bring some kai back into this community, Kāwhia, and they'll bring it through on the Fresh Choice van. It'll come out on a Wednesday afternoon, come about 1 o'clock. Deliver it here, and then I'll have some volunteers, and we'll distribute all those kai out into bags, and then we'll give it out to the community. But they've got to come here and get it. I'm not going out to the houses, so I'll have that already partnering on the Kāwhia Connection page, and the Real Kāwhia Connection page, and telling everybody in the community, kai for all, Kāwhia kai for all. So there's kai that's going to be here available for whānau. So I'm asking the community board if they can fund the usage of this hall for 2 hours.
For how long?
Probably for 6 months. There's so much kai up there, and they want to give it to Kāwhia as well. So that's $480 that I'm asking to fund the hall, that we can distribute some kai for our community.
So, that's really good.
I'll start off with, is it every fortnight, is it, or every week?
It's every week now.
Every week now?
Yeah. There's so much kai in town.
Just would you be wanting the whole hall or just the
No.
just the dining room area?
Just open it up here. We'll work in the kitchen. We'll work in the kitchen area, put all the kai in the kitchen, and we'll just take the tables outside and distribute the bags out.
Okay, yeah, just because there's different prices with hiring the whole hall.
No,
Just
it'll just be the kitchen.
the kitchen, yeah?
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, Annie, I think that's a great initiative. Well done. The only comment I have is that is there any thought being given to the possible impact that it might have on local businesses who also sell food?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think?
There are some families in here that, there are big families in here
Yeah.
that would benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be the only concern I have, that I wouldn't like to see, as much as I can support what you're doing.
Well, I mean, it's only coming out 1 day a week.
1 day.
So you've got the business 6 days, the other 6 days.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any idea on volumes that they might do?
Well, yeah, they could fluctuate, because James, the manager at Fresh Choice, says that he'll deliver what he can, depending on what comes out with the shopping. So I just hope that he can deliver what they can give him. an amount of, there are huge volumes of clay here.
And who's feeding it in the fresh course?
Sorry?
What organisation is feeding it in the fresh course, or is it just the excess?
No, it's just us here, because he comes out twice a week.
Right, so just the excess.
Yes.
From fresh course.
Fresh Choice and Woolworths,
Oh,
and the bakery in Cambridge, Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you'll be firing up before Christmas if they're really good. Okay.
Oh, heaps. There's going to be, strawberries, fruit. There's going to be meat and all that as well. Yeah.
So, just one further question, if I may. So, Andy, what sort of criteria have you set for distribution of these food parcels and so on? So,
Well, they're in, yeah,
can anybody come down and do it?
absolutely. Absolutely. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. And you just probably have to be quick, because the ones in Tāmuru, they start at 10, by half an hour it's gone. 25 eggs gone.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So it's first in, first served.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Will we have 4 minutes? Right, thank you, Annie, for that. We'll explain what's going on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Halfway.
And our next esteemed speaker for the Heidi Scott is going to give us an update on the garden.
Kia ora tātou, tēnei te mihi kia koutou ngā kaunihera o tō tātou poari o mō Kāwhia. I think I would like to sit down because I didn't carry on. First of all, I'll ask Annie to explain what is it, the monument that we've erected over in the property there. I'll let Annie explain to the board what is happening.
So far, thank you very much for the donation from the Kāwhia Community Board to buy that lovely statue. It's been concreted in by Dave and Russell.
No,
Richard, sorry. Thank you both for your fellows' contribution and your labour. Much appreciated. Yeah. And then Ross donated the gravel. That's in place. And it's already in it. Yeah, and so I was looking at the side fence on the back fence of the statue, there, we don't have that fence there and it's pretty run down. Ideas on how to beautify that place, that area the most. So I was thinking about contacting some local artists. So I contacted Carol Shepherd, and maybe have some plywood back there and put some art on the side there. And then some other ideas. I was thinking about putting some tiles down in the gravel with some, arty stuff. And I put those ideas forward to Carol, and she goes, I'll get back to you if I have some ideas. I'm still waiting for her to get back to me. So that's in the process. And where the back door is coming down from the doctors, that wax there. Nice to have some art here as well, pertaining to the Waterville to the area. And Hinga and Aotearoa Kaiwa has that history about that Waterville, about that, yeah. And then we're going to have a reveal, and we'll invite the board. Are very welcome to come and join us for that on next Friday. Not for this week, next Friday.
Oh, sorry, at 1 o'clock will be by Hotu Kur will be doing the unveiling. And then we will be coming into the hall, and there will be a luncheon for the community. And to advertise the connection that the community to come in and have a luncheon. This is after the unveiling.
Is that Friday the 13th?
Friday the 13th at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. There's a Tāwhia Kāwhia meeting that day.
Yes, they've cancelled and they're having, we are having our meeting with Aroa at 11 o'clock. And there's also the Christmas luncheon up there at 11:30. But then we can all get it ourselves. It's the
Bring a plate for your statue.
Pardon?
Does it bring a plate, bring some pie for that?
No, you just bring yourself.
The day is because of curfew, the guy that's going to be blessing it, he's
Yeah.
away in the South Island at this time, isn't he?
He goes down tomorrow or tonight. He flies down tonight. Yeah. Oh no, Monday. Yeah.
Any questions from the members? No, sounds great. Yeah.
That's good. Again, thanks very much, Dave and Richard.
That's all right.
You know, for bringing the monument back to us as well. My second thing is between the two Kāwhia. Last week I'd asked for permission to plant well, we planted 75 last week, so that's all done. I had contacted that as Hinga had suggested. That's all. Now my last. So that's why I said I had to sit there. Well, I think everyone is aware of all the vehicles that are getting stuck around at Kāwhia or Kāwhia. Is there anyone here that's not aware of all the vehicles? Well, not last week, the week before, within 3 days, we had 4 vehicles get stranded out there. One had actually been on the side. And there was 2 other vehicles at the same time in that area. So I have applied to Te Runanga o Ngāti Mahuta for a rāhui to be put on the area. I have got the support of the Runanga of Ngāti Kairo, and I'm meeting with them tonight because they had a couple of questions. They support it, but there was a couple of questions that they want to answer. So I said that I would come here today and let the board know that we are requesting a rahu put on the access there. I don't think we'll get it before Christmas, because it was actually over the Christmas holidays when we all know that it is very busy along the beachfront there to Kāwhia. So that's what I'm putting on, letting the board know that what I've done.
Have you thought about putting signs out down there? Because have you thought about putting signs up? Because the impression I have is people go around there and they head around one way and they come back and not thinking that they went that way, they come around the other way by the lagoon. That seems to be the most places they get stuck is by the end of that lagoon.
Yes, with the hui with Te Tai o Kāwhia Mona, they had suggested and putting up signs, and I'm not quite sure where they are. Well, I've only just gone back onto the board, so I'm not sure where we are with the signs. What I suggested that the sign be put on, you know, as they come in on that side, instead of coming through the gap,
yeah,
that there's a sign erected there to say that
go back through the gap.
to go back.
Yeah.
But there was a couple of vehicles that instead of going right around, you know, coming around, they were actually cutting across and getting stuck. And what was it, a couple of years ago, we had a car stuck there for about 2 to 3 days. Yes. Well, 2 weeks ago, we had another car stuck there because they had actually cut across. So in actual fact, it's actually when they're going out to Ocean Beach that they are getting stranded.
Is it? I thought the majority were coming back.
Yeah, and then coming back, the thing is, They don't realise that, you know, the tide comes in quicker at the lagoon. Then rather than, because this side, the town side of the lagoon is, you know, where it comes round like that, and the tide comes in there, and that's where they'll get stranded. They can't get through, and they're getting stuck in. I think we've had 3 vehicles there this year that got stuck in Kāwhia beach, you know, along there.
Yeah, the last one that got stuck.
Yeah, and that was out on Ocean Beach.
Any questions for me?
I've got a couple of,
Yep.
yeah, not, kia ora, Daisy. How is it intended to enforce it?
Well, this is what the problem was. I think it was in June, August, when I had applied to Makatu Marae to put the rahui on, and the thing was they didn't want to be the ones that were enforcing the rahui. So, and it sort of I went around to Taio, Kāwhia, Moana, round and round the circle, and then it came back and no one was doing anything. So I took it on and said that I would pursue it, because, you know, with us, or with Onuku going out and doing the beach patrol, it's a heck of a lot of big job to do that. But however, I did take it on, and then I pushed it on to the runanga o Ngāti Mahuta and said that Ngāti Mahuta, the runanga, is the more or less the title holder of our land, and that they should be actioning it. So when I filled out the application, the organiser I put down Te Runanga o Ngāti Mahuta. So that's, but Mahi, who is the chairperson, is going to be getting back to me once he's got everything in place.
Right.
But on my side, I've presented all the photos that I've had on file, and yes, so now it's just up to the runanga to think.
Okay, just for you, Mr. Chair.
All I know is Mahi King is the chairperson, and Ashley Burner, Tutiau's daughter, is the secretary.
Oh.
But I don't know who else is on the board.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just one further question, if I may. It's really not clear to me. It's one of the problems that we've always had there, as you no doubt appreciate, is that it's always been claimed that it's a public road around.
Yes.
So, in terms of protocols, what takes precedence then, a rahui or the fact that it's a public road? I don't know. I'm asking the question.
I'm not sure if I know the answer to that. I'm very not sure if I know that. It's new territory for me, so I seriously. There is potentially a jurisdictional issue around that.
Yeah.
So that's not something that can come here.
Okay.
Getting back to you, Touch, I think you're aware that through TKI and Te Taio, that the actual ownership of the land transport is counting as a public road. TKI was looking into the actual ownership,
That's right.
and it comes back that it is the landowner's land, and that is where we are at this stage. So, and this is why I am pushing for the rahu until you know, it's made public that it is not a public road, where the road has come up. Say we'll take outside Makatu, the seawall is not actually the boundary, and the public road is more or less parallel with the seawall, but in actual fact, the ownership of that land, because it belongs to the marae, is further out. So this land up here, where they're claiming to be a public road, I believe through TKI that it is not a public road, it is private land which belongs to the ownerships.
Right, any further questions?
No, I think that's a matter that needs to be clarified.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. And
So
I know the work that TKI has put into that clarification, so
mm,
I know they'll do they'll make sure the protocols and everything.
Yeah.
Ladies, thank you. I just want to say thank you very much for your efforts that you two are putting into this community. Some very good things have come out of you ladies sitting here and asking for support of board to help you. And you know, we get some pleasure out of this, don't we?
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
it's, but we also get great pleasure that, you know, when you come to us with an idea, that idea gets fruition. So thank you, and thank the board members who have been helping out. Our two stalwarts there. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
yeah. But now can I ask the board a question? You know, with these vehicles that are,
It's a matter of determination.
yeah, is there anything that the community board can do about the safety of, you know, these accidents that are happening?
It's, at the end of the day, it's a road regulation.
Okay.
Okay, and a road regulation has to go through the local body.
Yeah.
So yes, and if it comes for a discussion, a recommendation, then, but at the end of the day, it still has to be with the roading authority, which is not us. So you see.
Yeah, but that's what I want to clarify, because that is one of the questions that I was being asked from, Ngāti Hikairo.
Authority,
The local road authority, that's good.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Yes.
Now moving on to a late item, with Annie's presentation, there is a late item. And the late item is that the Kāwhia Community Board approves the consideration of a late item, being a request for funding from the scrutiny zone for $480 inclusive of GST to Annie Mahara for the weekly hire of the Kāwhia Community Hall Operation Kāwhia or Food Bank. And this item can't be dealt with at a subsequent meeting because we want to open it up before Christmas. So I'll move that motion, and do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. Declarations of conflict of interest, anything? No?
Can I just ask a question just based on what we've just heard? Could the Kāwhia Community Board just state that they support the Rahui? Yeah, but I mean, but could that take place no matter what legal precedents there are or whatever else? Yeah, okay.
Confirmation of minutes. Do I have a move that the minutes is through for record? Board member Bob?
Yeah, I'll move it.
Yeah, councillor. Anything from those minutes?
There was just one item for me, Mr. Chairman, it was just, there was a meeting to discuss what was happening with the Kāwhia boat ramp and parking area down there, and I just wondered whether we're able to get an update from anybody on progress with that. Are you?
No.
No, I couldn't.
No, that is basically the impression I got, as I said to Chairman Jeff, that I wouldn't be on the Zoom because we were just going over the same thing. There's been no forward movement on what was discussed. There was no resolutions. There was no outcomes or proposals. It was just, yeah, just a discussion of what everyone already knew already.
I will say that the discussion was very good. We have started that and to realise that overseers will be hard with landowners to come to a resolution. No one really come to that some resolution, whichever way will happen in the near future. Because I'd like to see it resolved one way or the other.
Yes, well, it's been ongoing for decades, so that one.
But there will be a full report coming through. And very near future.
That's correct. I think actually, but the outcome of the meeting was to bring a report back to the board, after some further investigation and ownership and what we can't do everything.
And with that report, with that included, use of the proposal as to how some sort of structure is set up with the landowners in terms of what the release or what
I'm not sure yet, that's actually depending on the negotiation go around, so the report may come down to direction from the board, just on next steps. And if we could get some independent advice or some independent people to set something up around that, so not quite sure what yet the report will contain, but it will come back to the board to consider.
Can I just add something? The owners are looking at, or have had an offer, I should say, from Te Punakokiri to send down a lease team and sort of work something out for them to present back to the council, maybe, because they were waiting for the council to present something. But as I say, the guy who runs Te Punakokiri in Auckland has got a place just up the road, and he's offered to send a lease team down if they need it. So we'll just wait and see if they're going to take that up or not.
Thank you. We can take it back to the start and look.
Would be good for 1%. Anything else from the?
It's got one, and that's the public forum from last time when Michael Edmonds addressed us. You were concerned about whether it was going to take. Michael has replied today, wants to make clear that there is no impact income that Dr. John gets from his patients. Those patients all stay on his books. But in reply to the concerns that were raised, in the position to got them a letter saying that we support your initiative that they're trying to evolve in Kāwhia. So I personally would like to see something like that. They're trying to provide a whole range of services, and they get the expression of support from the Kāwhia Community Board to them to say that we support their initiatives would be a welcome letter for them to be able to use when they do go out and apply for funding and all the rest of it. So
Okay, let me look at that.
yeah.
See how we can do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would be in favour of us.
Yeah, the next February meeting.
Yep.
Talk about extending legally, and I'm sure they'll get the full word model. So we put it in the model.
Yep.
Anything else from the notes? No, thank you. Moving on to page 16, the decision report, item 29. The removal of trees on Kāwhia Street. We have Mark. Mark, what's yours?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm presenting today a report on behalf of the manager, Paul Strange, who will be here today, so his apologies. The purpose of this report is to provide feedback on the consultation that took place on the original report around the trees on Pōiwi Street, the Pahutakawa trees, and the recommendation to remove them. The consultation, or as you would have seen inside the report, has shown considerable support to keep the trees or to an alternative to move the trees. It's sort of detailed in that photograph there. Total of 109 people responded to the survey. Council staff are still by the recommendation to the board today that the trees be removed, and I understand that it is a difficult decision because that would be in opposition to the submitted point of view, but I have put several options there in front of you today to consider. Option one, obviously, is to remove the trees. Option two is not to remove the trees, and option three is to consider other options. So just to talk a little bit about that, option one is obviously the most simplest and cost-effective way to deal with the issue around the seawall. The trees are contributing to the damage and potentially into the road in a longer term. Option two would be to leave the trees there, which is an option available to the board, but be a level of caution to the fact that those trees will only keep growing and only potentially cause further problems later on, and be more difficult to remove as they establish and become more significant. So that's probably the opposition to that, or the downside. And the third option is to consider other options, and one of those options would be to relocate the seawall, which I've sort of explained is definitely an option. It could be explored, but I would have to sort of go away and try and work out what that would cost, and it would have to form some sort of budget in the future, our annual plan or long-term plan. But I have provided you a little bit of guidance there on the fact that anything that we do in that coastal marine area will not be cheap, and would be a rather long process, and we can use that example what's happening outside of the hill at the moment. It's here around the complexities around the Aotearoa. So yeah, that is an option, but it's considered a favourable option at this time. So the option, because the recommendation from staff currently is to remove the trees as per the original report. Now, I just want to make one correction as I went down there myself this afternoon and just wanted to get away from this approximately 10 Kāwhia trees. I feel that's a little bit vague, so I did count it up, and it's 12 that would have to be removed.
The two on the end are not Kāwhia though, are they? The two short ones?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of mixed trees in there. I suppose it's just making that definition, that approximation is just a little bit vague. I think, you know, is it 8? Is it 12, 14? So I'd like to sort of narrow that down to 12 trees, of which several of them are Kāwhias, and maybe that's something we could mark out should we proceed with the recommendation today, to make sure that we are completely.
So that's on page 19.
Yeah, so page 17 is the recommendation. It says the removal of 10 Kāwhia trees. It may in fact be 10 Kāwhia, but there's actually 12 trees in total. But I'll just draw you to clause 2.1 when we've used the term approximately 10. So I just want to put some sort of surety around that, so that the board's clear on it. So I'll take the rest of the report as read, and we'll answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chief. Have you had any consultation with the Ngāti Kaurau Rūnanga?
Not directly.
Not directly?
No. But that survey did go out to the community. Yeah, so that was an opportunity. Yeah. So I haven't had a direct conversation, and I'm pretty certain the road manager hasn't either.
I just have a question, Mark. As part of the options, we're talking about a pathway as such. I do not believe that safety for the council and for liability, that there is a safe way of putting a pathway along. That road is pretty narrow, and you've got large vehicles either way, boats, whatever. And I can't figure out the issue about the boardwalk, when in actual fact there's a boardwalk there that's open 18 hours every day of the week, and it's called the beach. So I just wonder whether it's not better, for safety reasons, to put a pathway down to the beach at the beginning and one up from the beach at the end, so that you're taking people right off that road, because that road's very narrow. and you get a couple of large logging trucks or a couple of whatever else along there, I just think there is some liability for us and the council, if it goes ahead, that a pathway that close there with major traffic. So personally, I would like to see people walk, which I have been doing lately, is walking along that beachfront in front of the wall. And it's, as I say, it's open 16 hours a day, every day of the year. So I just have some concerns about that pathway that may be up there. I think it's better off for people to walk on the beachfront, to be quite frank, when the tide allows them to. That's my only
For you, Mr. Chair, can I?
concern.
Yeah, all good, but, you know, for a couple of hundred metres when you first come into town by Dr. John's and before you get to the street, there's a footpath right on the side of the road there. And the road's actually a bit narrower, I believe, in that bank part. So, you know, it has never been an issue in that part, so I can't really see it being an issue. You know, no one's ever been clipped coming into town down that way. Or, good idea, though, to walk along the beach if you'd like to, make it available to people.
It's there, it's available. You're off the road. You're all,
And
Oh,
if I make
you can always get into town, can't they? They'll walk wherever people walk on the road. I'm just saying, if we designate a pathway, are we creating a liability for the Kāwhia Community Board and for the Otaronga District Council? Whereas the safer option would be to just exit the road down to the beachfront, go along and exit back up by the garage. That's
yeah, when the tide's in. They're going to walk on the road anyway rather than the beach because in a hurry.
pretty narrow.
I think too, Mr. Chairman, if those yellow base plates that are currently on the road now were removed, that's going to create a bit more room anyway. And as Paul indicated earlier in the piece, he's always considered them to be a danger to cyclists and motorcyclists anyway. To hit one of those things, they're gone. So it wouldn't hurt to have those base plates taken off before anything.
I actually think they're a good idea. They still sort of keep the traffic on the road rather than coming in. It could still be there used as a cycleway. Yeah, with those.
From what I understand with Paul, and I think to probably just to sort of comment on the footpath, I think the footpath is probably the secondary consideration here. The primary consideration is the fact that the trees are starting to affect the coastal structure, which will be quite a significant expense to the Kāwhia community should we have to replace it or rebuild it. The footpath, obviously, with the trees being removed, will enable us to remove people from the sealed surface onto the non-sealed surface and create a footpath. And I think Paul's thinking around that was even just a gravel path rather than a concreted path, saving some costs. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's common for footpaths to be long roadways. That's not unheard of. You know, that's everywhere. Just about you go, there is a footpath beside a road. So it's the fact that they're actually off the road provides that level of safety. And I don't think there's any liability on the board that a footpath was created by the side of that sealed surface. But to push people down into the coastal marine area, I think would be, you know, as you said, Mr. Chairman, for 6 hours a day, it wouldn't be usable.
Any other questions? Well, are they the ones that you forwarded to?
Yes, yeah, the email that I sent out, I've had no response to, and I'd like a response to it. Because I do have some concerns about some aspects of it, though I can understand why people are against it.
Your most significant one?
Well, the first one is the budget. I understood, Mark, didn't we get a government grant of some sort as a budget to do the work on that seawall? $730,000, wasn't it? And which some of it's been earmarked for AOTIA. So we
Correct.
think it's going to be a cost to the community. How's it a cost to the community?
So that 730,000 is for the entire Kāwhia township coastline right down to the Makatū Marae. It's not just for that 25 metres of seawall. So there's significant coastal assets all the way along here, and 730,000 at a conservative estimate, it's probably not going to be enough to even cover what's needed along this coastline, although we haven't done the condition assessments yet, let alone what's required at the Aotea. So,
But it's certainly enough to do the work up here.
to
To do the remedial work on this wall that we're talking about here, when you take the trees out, there's enough in that money, that grant, to do that work.
well, I think the fact that there's only damaged, and I did have a look at it this afternoon, to probably 3 areas, yeah, that would be a fair assumption that whatever would be needed to do that small bit of maintenance could be covered by that. Although we don't know what the extent of that damage is until those trees are removed, and some of that wall is quite pushed out. And then if you look further to the northern side of the wall, it's non-existent. It's actually starting to eat in to the road. So we're looking at putting some temporary rock in there currently to sort of slow that down. But yeah, that's a really nice job. I saw that as I came into town, those 2 areas, or might be 3 areas that I've done. This will probably be more of a temporary barrier. Yeah.
Well, looking at the condition of that seawall, I think, yeah, it's prime danger at the moment is the fact that it's getting pushed over by it. And if you look at it in a couple of places, that you can probably realign it quite easily by excavating at the back end.
Yeah.
There's only two really bad places left.
And it's quite pronounced. And of course, when those trees come to being removed, it depends on what else is needed once we get in there. But we won't know that, obviously. But working on the existing asset will be just maintenance, which is generally covered under your resource consents.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Mark, some of these questions probably were unfair for you because you didn't actually write to the report of this, but I'm looking at clause 5.7 when we talk about having recently worked through the renewal aid to the seawall consent. It would be a conservative estimate of between 50 to 100,000 must be costing about design engineering and environmental investigation. This doesn't include any construction costs. Mark, I could be wrong, but weren't those a lot of those costs covered in the 2019 proposal that Roger put up at the time? A lot of that design and engineering stuff I thought had been done and paid for. Is it not on file?
Actually, can I?
So I think 5.7 is in reference to option 3, which would be to consider relocating or moving the seawall. So that's what those numbers relate to.
Moving the seawall to constructing the seawall, which is a different.
Yes. We haven't decided.
No.
Okay, can I just add to that?
In answer to your question, 5.7 is in reference to option 3, which would be one of the alternatives suggested was to relocate the seawall and leave the trees there. So what I'm trying to show there is working on the existing seawall is a maintenance. Building a new seawall is a new construction, which would require consent.
Just to reply to Kate, I remember Roger's report at the time, and it was the estimates at the time was 150k for a new wall and 10k to pull the trees out. That was the costing. So I would imagine now, 5 years later, the cost was probably closer to 300k. Just the way things went up 40%, 60% in the last 2 years. Materials.
My only question on that we say with option one, which is remove the trees, is look, talking about it. I would send it to a recording or have it proposed in there. Would that give an opportunity if we remove the trees to replace that?
I'm not 100% familiar with the design of that bulwark, but I understood it was actually into the coastal marine area. It would probably, I'm just probably trying to understand, would that be as well as removing the trees or as an alternative to? Yeah. Yeah, well, there may not be a need for that, Mr. Chairman, so, yeah.
So Mark, in the summary of submissions, what was the three all those things? Used throughout the summer, and I didn't understand what was your
In the you probably need to point me.
On the second page of the submissions. On the yep. All the October is the Dutch, and the time is 2:49 p.m. Have you got it that way? So this is the so that's the question on the submission. Yeah, but what I'm saying is in there, it will also be a on land, so and it's also about and. What does and mean? Yeah. Which is just
Yeah. So this was copied verbatim. Yeah. It's not a term I'm familiar with.
Yes, of course. Insert name.
But we've got a walk lane, as I understand it, along the street going out to the camping area. Do you know where it is?
So that water main, from what I understand, goes down through. So it heads up the top of Hataroa Street, is it? Yep. It heads up and then comes back down. I'm trying to think, would it be Waiwera Street? Is there a street up there that comes down? That doesn't go all the way, but it is.
Yeah, there's Hooky Street, or otherwise, is it Bosley Lane there, Virginia lives? I think it comes down there.
That's my understanding. So it doesn't actually run along past the trees. There's no council infrastructure that I'm aware of. That's
right in front of the camping ground.
Yeah.
I think the inclusion of the urban trees policy was really useful, and it sort of highlighted a couple of things for me. Firstly, that the final decision in felling of trees is definitely the board's discretion, which is good. Yeah, we've mentioned early consultation, but the urban trees policy doesn't require that level of consultation. So if we're adhering to that policy, it's my view that even in the same opportunity of comment as all other submitters. So we shouldn't be feeling accountable in any way for the direction from either. So you've already answered the question, Mark, whether you're aware of any direct consultation taking place. And there were some claims there that some submitters were claiming the trees are dominant, and I'm not sure how they arrived at that conclusion, unless they think the trees are somehow linked to the historic behaviour cars, which they're not. So we need to make that quite clear. And the only other thing I could perhaps suggest, Mr. Chairman, is the board may wish to consider or not, whether it would be useful for us to get a qualified arborist to get an independent report on those trees as to whether there are other options that we can consider other than removal. Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think an arborist will not determine only the trees. You can see that. That's an engineering. An engineer will say, and it's an engineering aspect of the trees, what the trees are causing to see, not less serious. I know it's going to be a hard decision for everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years to get to this point.
Just through you again, Mr. Chair, and apologies. In the responses on the 14th of the 10th at 2:06, there's one there from the Waipapa and Ryan of Ngāti Kairo. 2:06 on the 14th of the 10th.
So they have names. Yeah. Well, that could be quite long, even in terms of the policy, there is no requirement for you to consult with them. The trees, the taking down trees that are over 5 metres in height, the policy is quite clear, but the board has some discretion to make that call. Well, I think it's great to get so much input. You know, 700 odd people viewed the platform, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got more submissions on this one issue than we did on our LTP and so, you know, there's obviously a lot of community interest there, and I think we need to acknowledge and thank those that took the time to make those submissions, because
now, I agree with that, you know, so we've got a passionate community.
Yeah. Yep.
But we all remember that consultation is there. It's consulting with your members of the community to say, something that, you know, we're looking at, and this is why it needs to be done. And consultations isn't the voting process, it's a consultant. And it's one thing that you see through it, it's a consultant. I can stand here with you and say, hey, if you don't know about this, don't. You know, we've put posters up around the town, and that's told people about the mechanical aspects of why things need to be done. And I think it was Nadia that organised those, and it was very plain English. And I've had great feedback and information.
Can I, Mr. Chair? A lot of the responses I saw, I got the impression that a lot of them thought that we were pulling the trees out to put a footpath in. And that sort of is the impression they picked up from the little notices, you know, but they weren't aware that we were doing it because the seawall's getting pushed over, it's holding up the road.
Explain to them, please, somewhere in which the photos. We'll just show you, and anyone that talked to me, I said, let's go for this. Don't look at my see what's happening. It's like if the seedling sprouts in the driveway at home, what do? You know? Do you do something about it? You know, and that's what we've got with the seedlings that we've put in, and now growing the great big tree.
Yeah, I think there might be some confusion too, David, about, I think that some people think they were taking all of the trees. But it's only about half. There's about 20 odd trees in total, Mark, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact number, but the ones that sort of to the south, that little sort of spit areas, they're quite big, beautiful aesthetic trees which don't have any walls around them. It's just that the infill of those trees are right on, within that space between the road and that concrete wall.
But I asked that once the board made a decision, that citizens would know the project plan, would we have an opportunity to be shown the trees?
That could definitely be arranged.
Just yellow, something like that.
That would be my preference too. So it's very clear which ones are going, and that can be dealt with at an operational level. That it's marked up by Paul, the rating manager, prior to the project happening.
That was supposed to have happened.
So, excuse me, Mark, or through again, so they get stump ground out and everything?
I'm not sure which method Paul's sort of considering, but I would imagine for him to be able to form a footpath on top of there, he'll want to get those stumps down to ground level. He'll also want to make sure he doesn't leave anything that might rejuvenate. But I can't comment on the methodology that Paul's considering, or the manager. Would leave a nice tidy job. I don't think you'd want to start trying to remove the stumps. That would just create a problem that we're trying to, worse the problem. Yeah.
Board members, we need to come to a decision, and the staff recommendation is option one, that the community board receive the feedback from the community from the consultation period and will approve the removal of temporary costs approximately.
Well, yeah, I think
No, more than 12, or up to 12.
So what I've heard from the discussion is everything that will be something like, correct me if I'm wrong, approves the removal of 10 trees, including 12 trees.
no, it would be 12 trees, including 10 Kāwhia. Yeah. And I would put on there which will, and if we can, which will be identified prior to removal, if that's acceptable in the recommendation, so it's recorded.
I have a question before we carry on. There was an offer I read somewhere in amongst all this information about making the trees, if we remove them, making that available to local people if they have a need for them for whatever. Is that option still available, Mark? Or are they just going to chip them all into a bin and drive away?
I don't think that would be, I mean, that's an option, chipping them. Probably from a contractor's point of view, it'd be nice and tidy to do that, but there's probably no reason why we couldn't relocate the timber to another area that could be used. It's something we can look into, because I understand Kāwhia is a reasonable carving tree. And some of it might only be good for firewood. They're not that, they're almost like several trunks coming out of, they're not a really decent site, but it's something we can consider. I don't want to make any assurances that could happen today, but it's something, if that's what the board wishes, for us to look into that, of putting them somewhere so that the community can help themselves to them.
You can be good for this.
Yeah, I think that
Even offer them to the 3 local marae.
Yep. Yeah, it can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's council land by the people state land.
We probably just don't want to create too much of a congestion issue. So, we'd have to come up with some thoughts around it. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion.
You just,
I read it in here somewhere that it was already a suggestion from someone else.
I just wanted to know. Down with, we have, Australia. You can see these here just to help offset it yourself, or is that worth exploring, or?
Well, I see it's different from that. Replace it like the one somewhere. But we want to be big.
Yeah, it was some feedback we received from regional council was, so that we don't, I suppose, so we continue with the sort of biodiversity of having trees once we remove some, plant some, And one of the areas considered was the cemetery reserve, which is council land. So that's an option.
Is that an operational thing?
That would probably move out of Roding's activity and into community facilities, Jared's activity.
Is it something the board could pursue at a further meeting about some sort of community replacement?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just as a suggestion too, before the trees actually get cut down, would it be a nice gesture to invite, say, local kaumātua to go down there and bless them or whatever before they're actually taken out?
I wonder who would they use these days?
I don't know. John Cookie, maybe.
Hano Pukia?
We just need to know.
Hano Pukia?
So-
Hano Pukia? Or Huna?
Lots of things we can do.
Yes.
Yeah, if that's if that information could be fed back to us on who would be the best person, then I'm sure we can.
Right, new motion that the Kāwhia community board receive feedback from the community consultation period. And it approves the removal of 12 trees, including indoor development and the clearly to the wild speakers on the main Kāwhia Kila in the following October 2023. Property number 381672. Is a request that the trees be identified via marking for community awareness prior to removal. Request the board to promote and provide a community for use. Do I have a move of that? All those in favour? Carry. Thank you, board members.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Making only reports. Benjamin, what is it? Going to page 61. I'm making a report on the it's an update on where things are. Very good. Update on the project, the conflict plan, the state of where things are. So it's an update. If you look at page 63 on your agenda. Wait, while we're waiting for Tanzania. Oh, lost one. I can see that top there, can't see the big picture, right? Floor is yours.
It's very difficult to hear, Mr. Chair. Is it me that's up?
It is you now, correct.
All right. Thank you and kia ora, board members. So I'll take the report as read. What you have in the attachment is a summary of progress across all of the concept plan actions across the 3 concept plans. Happy to take questions on both the report, but particularly on the progress for the actions that relate to the Kāwhia, Aotea and Ōpārau areas.
Just a quick one from me, Ross. Item 16, develop a concept plan for only reserve Kāwhia Aotea. Progressing, there's a draft request for proposal. Is that computer likely to be out before Christmas, prior to Christmas?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So the thinking around the process is we have 2 or 3 very experienced parties involved in this sort of work, and it would be a targeted request for proposal process. The start of that would be in the form of a letter and project brief going out to those 2 or 3 invited consultants with the proposals due back probably in early February with an indicative start sometime in March.
And we'll have, at that point, we'll have a bit more detail about the proposed improvements to Omidi and obviously Little Parks.
So that would essentially give authority to whoever we appointed to start work. So it would be a process dominated by community engagement. We don't, or at least I don't, see what was presented for both the Omamiti and the Aotea Beach reserve concept designs in the that were adopted with the concept plan as being the end. That's a starting point for the process. So I think this is likely to take 3 or 4 months to work through.
Oh, yeah, just on number 19, the MOU and the lease for the sports club, that's all been dealt to. Right.
We've received it.
Sorry?
We've received the MOU and that we've been discussing about it tonight after the first sheet.
Anything else, board members? On that?
That's very good.
That's awesome. Thank you, Bob.
Kia ora, thank you.
Right, staff recommendation that the Kāwhia Community Board receives a report. Kāwhia hold their Opara concept plan implementation update December 2024. Document number 790123. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Sorry?
He's got his tartan up there.
Item 31, page 66, and it's the Aotea seawall update. And Robbie, please, go and give us that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Kia ora, board members. The report I'm presenting today provides a progress update on Otaronga District Council's application to Waikato Regional Council to renew the resource consent for the Aotea seawall. It also provides an update on some emergency works that occurred earlier this year on the seawall. I'd like to take the report as read, but before I hand over the floor to questions, if I could just update, there's reference in item 1.1 and 2.5 to those emergency remedial works happening in August 2024. They actually occurred in May 2024. Also, since the report was finalised to the agenda, Council have heard back from Regional Council in the form of a set of draft conditions for the consent, which Council staff are currently reviewing. And with that, I'll happy to take any questions.
Questions?
The only one that I had, Mr. Chairman, was I'm just trying to find the clause here, sorry. As we talk about raising the height of the wall.
Councillor Jeffrey, what did pick up on that? I think it was a thing like this.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk to it now, if you'd like. Yeah, sure. Look, I do need to confirm, obviously, but the level that's provided is a reduced level based on mean seawater level, is our understanding. There's been models done for a 100-year return event that indicate that any areas below that level would be subject to surcharge from that storm event, so very susceptible.
And now, you and I discussed, Mr. Chairman, whether it's a health and safety issue with removing the stairs.
The way I read this, stairs will be removed. There's going to be a specific continued from there with the stairs below, but there will be a discussion later on. There's some technical engineering aspects about that.
Yeah, look, there was one set of stairs removed during the remedial works. They'd suffered quite a bit of damage. They haven't been reinstated at this point until we have those discussions. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Works cost 106, that's been paid for. Seems like it's 30,000.
Yes, it has. It will do, councillor. We have to do some journaling across on that. Yeah.
It's no, is that all costs or we still got staff time or what to be added to that? Is that just for the physical groups?
Yes, it was just external costs, internal admin there's no overhead in that figure.
Just try to protect our 730,000 as much as we can. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and just to clarify, that's across both communities now with the changes through the LTP, which we discussed at length. So, yeah.
Any further questions? Right. Number 3, the staff recommendations that Kāwhia Community Boards receive the report by the culture seawall resistance and manures update number 78 series 14. Will remember for that? Yeah. Second one. All right, Barry. Thank you, members. Thank you for your mark. Member update.
Okay, I'll just update us on where we're at with the sports club again, as I seem to do most meetings. Yes, we've got a draft MOU and lease agreement, which we're going over tonight. We've also had, just today, received our formal quote for the structure, which has come in at actually almost $100,000 less than the original quote that had the branders and other windows and everything. So we're getting quite well looked after by the company there, I believe. There'll be a few other costs, so we're going to house the workers, put the workers up. We've got to just set up temporary toilet water, and we may need to, and I'll have to ask the community board about this or the council. We may need to have to put a gate across the driveway. I'm not sure if we can do that with people using, unless we have keys for certain people. And I'm just wondering, rather than trying to fence off around the whole building part that we're doing, if we just fence the driveway off, it may negate closing the tennis courts for a couple of months. And then giving, say, the people at least, the Scott family, at least the domain keys to get in and out. But I'll get a bit more info tonight and talk with Jude and we'll discuss it, but we may have to check out if we can just put a gate across the driveway there. That would be the simplest thing for us.
Yeah, that's what I comment. You know, I'd like to thank Council Jeffries and overseas for speeding up that process there.
All right, that's, I'd actually like to thank Tanya's involvement there. Thank you, Tanya. Much appreciated.
I have a question. Dave, if you close off a gateway up there, what about access to the tennis club?
That's what I say. We may have to look. Is it be feasible? Would it be feasible to just close the tennis courts down for a couple of months? They sort of we've sort of got the
Have you had any discussion with the tennis club about it?
well, there is no tennis club. It all comes under the umbrella of the sports club.
Okay.
Even though they're open to the public anytime, you don't have to be a member of the sports club to utilise the tennis courts, but we are responsible for the maintenance and the tidy up and everything around it. So we just thought it might be the easiest thing is just to close the courts for a couple of months just while we get the structure up. And once the structure's up, we don't have to have it closed off to do the inside fit out.
Pātaka Kai shed. I think there's been a change of heart, and I think that project may be picked up by someone else, but I don't think it's going to pursue as the board intended. For whatever reason, it was a very good idea, and it was all enthusiasm and all the rest of it, but it didn't quite pan out as everyone expected. So I imagine that's on hold unless someone else wants to pick up that project.
Could give an update on it. Thank you for your work and trying.
It was fine.
Yep. On that, my experience with the LT, it's critical that someone has ownership. Looking after them. I think until we can find someone that actually sticks their hand up and do that, and I know you've got everything made and everything go, but you've got someone there that actually to look after them. Critically, because of all these guys on a basis, it becomes more of a you feel the same now.
Just about every day.
Shearing sheep, we've got all sorts of things turn up with boxes, and they really use it as a community shearing shed. And there's a quite a lot of convoy from around the harbour and both harbours that are coming over, and the stuff that goes is fantastic. So I'm keen on it happening, and there might be someone that I can find over in that area that could look at being responsible for something. So I'll get that. But thank you for your efforts, Connie.
Yep. I also I attended the sports day, the inter-school sports day up at the thing. Was really good. There were 5 schools up there. It was a great day. Yeah, I was quite impressed with it. So it was good to be there, and it was yeah, it was a good day. I also attended I came down for the council pop-up. There were people around, but there wasn't that well patronised, but it was good. It was there. People were asking whatever else. And I also attended the art exhibition of the young lady ran out here, which I thought it was a very good. It was almost like a little science project, to be quite frank. It was the young lady concerned did a pretty damn good job. I remember what's the lady? The art lady who talks about it. She did a proposal to one of the council meetings that was in, I think it's St. Paul's Church in Otrahonga, and talked about living art and all the rest of it. And I just thought it fitted the bill. It was pretty good. Yeah, it was good. She did a pretty damn good job. I just wondered why it wasn't. Was it part of your art society?
That's not my art society.
Well, you know what I mean. You know, was it part of the art society?
No, I think it's quite independent of the group over here.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it was worthwhile going to see. And on a personal note, of course, I managed to attend the Hamilton League of the treaty headquarters, which was extremely good. It was well worth going to, and I enjoyed it. But yes, that's my board update.
That must have brought back nice memories of your union.
Well, I'm about to head to Tokoroa next week for a meeting with Winston Peters, talk about mill closures. So that should be even more fun.
Just so you, Mr. Chair. Just so you, Mr. Chair. Hear any more? Any follow-ups on the community garden thing that
The community garden?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last I heard of that is that they had selected a site somewhere and it didn't involve whatever. So that's as near as I know, that they had found an alternative site to what they were looking at. Initially, they looked at down at the pound, and then they looked at a couple of areas. But the last time I spoke to them, I'm under the impression they have found a site somewhere for their community garden.
great stuff?
Because there was one, I think, Arthur Tom might have been involved with it at one stage down by the school, eh?
Yes, that's an orchard more than anything.
Yeah.
They've just about 3 months ago they refenced that and had a big clean up and go, and we got some funding or something, so that's been rehashed.
Is it still being run as a community garden, you know?
I think it's run just more as a school garden or school orchard.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Very brief. Yeah, on the 20th of November, we had a really neat day out here with a visit from the council's regulatory staff hang out, and we took them out to Aotea, and Jeff, congratulations, you should be a tour guide or a tourist operator or something.
Jeffrey's Gems.
But yeah, I think probably they really appreciate the opportunity to catch up on a bit of local history, and particularly as it related to the local iwi over there and the historic sites. They were fascinated with mussel farm, and of course, that's the just for visits to the rocks, seaweed. And then we came back here, and Tony, who's becoming rather a gun on the barbecue, I must admit. He and his colleagues cooked up a storm for lunch. We had a great lunch here, and then some of them went off and did some fishing off the wharf, and we took a group down to the museum, and Hucky and Kathy were hosted down there, and took them through the museum. And yeah, so it was a really enjoyable day, and I'm really pleased that it happened. And I'd encourage you to do it more. It gives, in my view, it gives the staff a great appreciation of this area and the issues that we face in this small community. So, congratulations for that.
I've got going myself, Chief, just spending time, taking time with the all days as well.
I know.
Just like that one, both the exact time and the all days, the host our team.
Oh, that was great.
Really good.
Good fun. Thank you. On the 25th of November, Councillor Prendergast and myself, we went to a presentation in Te by the Maru Trust. Now, the Maru Trust, I think I mentioned this at the last board meeting, cover the area that's currently within the Lions Company boundaries, and they provide funding for warm and comfortable homes, insulation, heat pumps, and the like. So they made a very, very interesting presentation on what they're doing, and I didn't appreciate actually the extent of the work that they do. They're actually well entrenched, and they cover right down to Taupo. I think there's about 3 or 4 different councils that they actually operate within now. So we're trying to get them involved now with this area here, which is in the Waipa Networks area, and that discussion's about to be held with Sean Horgan, who's the CEO of Waipa Networks. We're talking to him on Monday next. Jeff and I are going to have a discussion with him on that and a couple of other things. So that should be interesting. 26th of November, we had our council meeting, our district council meeting, and then on the 4th, only this week, we had a Zoom meeting on the Three Waters reform, and it was really to update iwi as much as anybody. I think would that be fair to say that, Tanya? Yeah. Unfortunately, there weren't a lot of iwi members present. Really, there was about 3 or 4. Yeah. But there were some good questions raised, I think, and so that's a work in progress, and you'll get a lot more information as we progress through. There's heads of agreements, and there's CCOs and all sorts of options that are being considered at the moment. So just watch this space, I guess. And the only other thing I just wanted to say, Mr. Chairman, was I just wanted to wish you and the board members and your families and whānau all the very best for Christmas. Have a safe Christmas, have a safe New Year, and let's do it all again next year. So,
Thank you.
Without the trees.
without the trees, yeah.
We think of a location that is sort of but it's not often to find someone. So if anyone out there knows anyone that would take on the responsibility of clearing it on a regular basis, at least weekly, we certainly talk more about it. Okay. I'd just like to thank all members of Hugh for putting in last month too. Very important family marathon that I had to attend. Literally had to attend with all the Swifties over there, so I had no choice. I went with John John's police farewell at their school, and it was a good turnout in the community. He's a well-respected policeman, completely the gifts that IPC gave him, and the gifts from the school and all that. No update as yet on permanent replacement. I know it is a work in progress for the police, and they're keen to find someone. Councillor Jeffries and I attended a meeting this week on the Oklahoma College school bus. I'm sure most of you are aware of the issues around that, and I think between Councillor Jeffries and myself and the women that were there, and some students, I think we've come up with a solution that can be tried anyway. But the service needs to be protected. But that's up to the children on the bus and the caregivers of the children on the bus. But there is a solution, and it's a hard solution that might have been literally I thoroughly enjoyed myself with the ODC regulatory growth group that came over. We do try and vary the various things. That's what I think NZTA and the voting through it that they take on board to work with pretty blunt and the random that's put out in the name. They've got a good crew of civil contractors up there looking at Canberra and the civil and implement. When you go right through the Nudanuru Road, we've had some major closures of it. That thing opened about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. That's supposed to be still closed now. And that was implemented to certainly know how to build roads and build roads efficiently. But big ups to NZTA and the crew. That's get down to the small boys and things move fast. I should have done that. So thank you to NZTA, I seem to pass that on to Nick and your soul and implement. We've had some incidences over our here. And it's an unfortunate one where our team was ring fast a couple of 3 weeks back. Got all the fuel tanks stolen in their barges over there. And that was five fuel tanks that were missing. So three at 20 drives, a couple of 20 minutes. So it was a significant effort in the place to remove those. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. Cameras did pick up identified that. I just want to put on record that the work that the Dockeries do for this community and these two partners here with their generous donations to Kokais and Tangis and just community gatherings, that I was really offended that scale was paid back. So if anyone knows anything out there, to be fair, it needs to be clean. And another unfortunate incident in the Aotea boat ramp a couple of Saturdays ago was some visiting fishermen in Sweden and salt at the boat ramp. Again, there are inquiries happening around there. But yeah, there's things we don't like to see in any community, those sorts of things. So please just put the task with you around that. It's Christmas, be patient, be nice. And like Kit, I would just like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. And thank all the ODC staff and engineers and our right hand and my left hand and our middle hand way over there. And so thank you very much for a year, and we've finished it on a difficult note, but it was a decision that needed to be made. And as someone said to me once, as an elected representative, it's your job to be right for the community. And I'm pretty sure you're going to do it. So with that, I would like to draw. Oh, sorry. Moving on to community board discretionary fund. Anyone got any questions on that motion? The motion is that Kāwhia Community Board approve of 480 inclusive of GST to Animar for the weekly hire of Kāwhia Community Board to open as an operation Kāwhia Quebec. That 480 will be held in credit at the Oklahoma District Council end and just wipe out the assets.
How long is that 480 going to last? It's 6 months.
It was held initially, and he's looking about every 2 weeks, which would be 40 bucks a month. That was 6 months. Is that much through the dispute fully voted? Announcement is going to be on a Sunday, Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon. Have you had a good discussion about this? Any further questions on that, board members? No. We'll move that. You second it? All those in favour?
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. You're not good. Resolution requested. Well done. Page 85. On page 73.
I'm just leave it on the register for now until we actually get the lease signed and everything. Okay, thank you.
We haven't closing the credit reflections, Kāwhia, and they have any words of wisdom?
When we started with this council meeting, so you're welcome to follow the practice if you'd like to work through it and read through this one.
No, I'm not being led by without any board members here. I'm not sure.
Well, I'll give it a go. Excuse me. Okay, so on the
Pono, mā te tuamanoko, mā te titiro, mā te whakarongo, mā te mahitahi, mā te araha, mā taia.
And with that, I was feeling given close to 100, 535.